Welcome back, everyone. Onan here. So, I have a special video or audio for you today. Some of you may have heard it, some of you have not. This is part one of the solo saga. This is a series of recordings Joan and I did year and a half ago, and it involves a rather traumatic yet marriage altering in a positive way event for me and my wife. Um, I got caught, and this is a recording Joan and I did literally the next morning after it had happened, and it's something that I think you'll find funny. Hopefully, you'll find funny, but also informative, and hopefully can be a conversation starter for other people. So I apologize if the audio isn't great. I'm recording from another recording, in other words, just to get rid of the video. And so the audio quality is not going to be as good, but I think you'll be able to hear it fine. And this will be part one. Part two and three will come out as well. This one's about 35 minutes long. Um, and it's probably one of the best episodes that we have done, and I want to share it with you guys. So bear with me. I'm going to go ahead and hit record, and then I'll come back and wrap it up at the end. So no one may ever hear this episode, but I have to share a story that happened last night, and this is Jonah's first time hearing this, and so I wanted this story to be raw and unfiltered and hopefully accurate. So for background, our last time of getting busy was this weekend, Saturday night. Okay,
Just,
3 days late. It depends who you ask.
we're on the same schedule, buddy.
So we're sitting out on the deck, and I had gotten pizza for supper. We're sitting on the deck, and my wife wears these nice dresses, and I said, "You really look nice in that." I said, "Do you ever just stop and stare at me the way I stop and stare at?" She didn't answer that, and she says, and this is kind of her normal response: "Well, I'm too busy for that."
Yeah.
And that
So that didn't feel the greatest.
didn't feel very good.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I'm fine with a white lie in that situation.
yeah, I was like, "Can you just muster up a lie, woman?" Good grief. We do it all the time.
And I'm not going into the situation.
Yeah, I was just like, so the evening progressed, and one of our daughters really needed to go to sleep, and she tends to fall asleep now on four-wheeler rides. So my wife's like, "Well, why don't you take her out for a four-wheeler ride?" And so I did, got her to sleep. I don't know what time this was, maybe 8 o'clock at night, something like that. So got her to sleep, and you could just tell my wife was in a good mood. And so I picked her up, took her upstairs, put her in the bed, and I just sat there for a minute, and I kind of got thinking about what had happened between me and my wife earlier. Long story short, I started doing the old solo.
Wow, this is quite the admission. I didn't see this coming. This is like a horror movie where the guy comes out of the closet. I didn't see that.
I didn't see it coming either. It wasn't something I had been thinking about, but there I was.
After only 4 days, 3 days.
Yeah, just wait till the story continues.
All right.
For me, this had been 3 days. According to her, it's 2 days. I know you and your.
Yeah, we have different calculations. We go by the hour.
Starting time.
Just because we can agree on hours, but not days.
So, anyway, in the back of my mind, I don't know what I was thinking. I clearly wasn't thinking, but so went downstairs, and I wasn't up there real long, but I was up there. You do the math.
Yeah.
I come down there, and I could tell the temperature was totally different in the room.
It's heating up.
No, wrong way.
Wrong? Oh, wrong way. Okay.
Wrong way. And I just knew she knew. Like, I just knew she knew. Well, I knew there was. Hang on, Mike.
All
I
right.
could do this, Mike.
Wow.
I knew there was one of two possibilities. One, the kids had done something to really piss her off in the 10-minute, whatever, however long I was upstairs.
Not longer than 10 minutes.
So, but I didn't hear a lot of screaming and yelling usually associated with that.
Yeah.
So, you know how you just know things? Like,
Yeah.
I just knew. How did you catch me, lady?
Yeah.
So she just gave me the cold, like it was an immediate, the cold shoulder I was used to.
Ah!
And I was like, I had one of two theories. One is that she had come upstairs, although I could see the doorway, and I was like, I'll bet she flipped that damn baby monitor on. She did.
Whoa! Oh my gosh!
That makes a good TikTok content.
Does that have a video?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god! Oh my god! So, did she like it?
Apparently not. She did not like it.
Guys, I mean, if it had been the other way around,
I'd have had a TikTok video out of it. So the gig was up, but she didn't say anything. She just gave me the silent treatment. But I just knew. I just knew. So
so how did you know that she saw it on the baby monitor? You talk about it?
I'll
You
get to
that point. Okay.
I'll get to that.
The shower's a safer place, buddy.
You know how cheaters say that they sometimes they want to get caught.
Man. Oh.
So the other kids were up yet. This is such a horrible story.
It's in real life, though.
I'm like, this is as real as it gets, boys. This is what they should hear in pre-Cana. So I don't know if I fell asleep, but my wife came up and she was in bed and she didn't say anything. And I come over, and I'm giving you all the details, folks here. So the cleanup rag, which I'm assuming everyone has something. We have one for ourselves and sometimes I leave it on the floor, forget about it, which we had. Well, that was laying where my pillow was at. I was like, yeah.
Okay.
So
she's letting you know.
She's letting me know that she knows.
Okay.
And this is a conversation that I had literally spent the last 20 years trying to figure out how I was going to have. And so we didn't say anything, and I laid down and
you didn't get mad and said, "What's this doing here?" Turn the tables.
Someday I'll grow up here and be able to do that. So anyway, so I'm laying there, and there was this awkward silence, and I lay there, and then she lays there, which was very unusual. Like, she's there on her. Anyway, so we're laying there for a while, and I was like, she was clearly mad, and I was like, do I just rip this Band-Aid off? And
no, you did know after the rag was on your pillow.
I suspect.
I mean, that's a strong
I
piece of
suspect
evidence.
she knew. She did. There again, she doesn't come out and say anything. She's just waiting for me to come.
Tormenting you on the spit.
Oh, just like my passive aggressive or whatever. But so we sat that we probably laid there for a good 30 minutes or
Oh,
40, like it felt like a long time.
and she's on her phone the whole time and you're sitting there on your phone? Or?
I was not on my phone. I was laying there unable to fall asleep, of course.
Okay, yeah.
So finally I was like, all right, Craig, this is it.
Oh,
You're gonna have
on to Mordor.
oh my gosh. I wasn't as terrified as I thought I would be. There was a certain level of relief there. Like I guess
yeah.
I have dealt with this in so many levels over 20 years that I was kind of past the point of having emotions about it anymore. But so I sat up in bed, I says, "What's wrong?" And I don't remember her exact words, but she said, "I know what you did." And I says, "How do you know?" She's like, "I turned on the baby monitor." I said, "I know you did." And like it's really hard to describe how that feels. It's like I ripped 1,000 Band-Aids off.
So, like, what kind of view do you think she got from the baby monitor? You must have some idea, like
too much.
Like how close the baby monitor?
It's on the other side of the room, but she gave me very excruciating detail of what she saw.
Oh, no kidding.
And so
look like you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah. She was
treating your body like an amusement park.
There was no humor or laughter or, "Oh God, you still do that?" No, it was fever pitch anger, and it was so weird because we both had this flashback to this conversation literally 20 years ago, which I told you about and I've kind of alluded to it before. But I said, and I don't want to get, I'm not going to share all of the details that we talked about, but I want to make sure that the flavor of the conversation is accurate. So
I could have never imagined this is where it was going.
This is why I wanted organic reaction.
This is like the sequel of a movie. Where you kind of know what you're expecting, and then it's like, holy crap.
So, and I don't even remember exactly what was said, but we both immediately went back. So we had been married less than a month, 6 weeks, something like that. And I had, unlike most guys, apparently, I did not have this issue as a teenager or whatever. It really wasn't something that I dealt with until I was very much romantically involved with my wife. And it happened one time. So I was a college student. And then once it happens, it just tends to happen more frequently. And so we had been newly married, and I thought to myself, of course I had this silly idea. Oh, I'm done with this. Like, this is.
We all have that idea.
Right. And so I was like, well, I want to be that person that doesn't have secrets. So I told her, I think, I want you to know, yeah, stupid me. I told her,
He almost got spit with coffee.
Yeah. I put a plastic bag over the microphone. So I said, so back then, she immediately, I can see it to this day. It was almost identical reactions.
Oh.
So back then she sat up and she looked at me with this feeling of like I had just had an affair. And
which, ladies, that's not the right it's not the best reaction, because it's like there's a lot of things going on.
I was very vulnerable, and I wanted her to know that I was going to share embarrassing stuff with her, because I didn't. This 20 years ago. And she felt very betrayed by that, which I I don't know what I was expecting. I guess I wasn't expecting that. And we never talked about it again after that. Never, ever
Not
talked
even
about it
once.
again. Never once. And I suspected she had no idea that it ever occurred again. You and I have talked about this.
Yep, I could talk a little bit.
You're convinced that she knew. I'm like, I don't think it's
So she,
so
okay.
so I was like, well, here we go. I said, and she was very upset, and she was sitting there looking at her phone, kind of talking to me. And I said, this feels very much like something that happened 20 years ago. And I said, I really felt hurt by what happened in that thing. And I said, I kind of walked through the process of how I've dealt with this issue, all the range of emotions and stuff, confessions,
Wow.
sneaking out of the house and going to counseling at one point in time. Like, I did it all. And I would say I was never like suicidal or anything like that, but I was at a very low point of depression. This wasn't just this, but this was a part of that.
Yeah, a component.
I mean, as a Catholic, God, like,
There's no outlet.
you're like, I'm just doomed. Like, there's just no hope for me. So I was kind of conveying that to her. And so she was like, and she said that she was angry that she assumed that that it had stopped 20 years ago. And I remember thinking, did you ever stop to ask? Like,
Yeah, communication goes a long way.
I mean, like, this is kind of what we were talking about the other day with Ellen. I say, like, if she'd have asked at any point in time, I would have told her the truth, but I was not going to bring this up voluntarily and face that again. So I just dealt with this sore spot in my life. I just talked. I just kind of bore my soul for probably 15 minutes, and there was no response at all. Just sat there, listened.
So what, like for 15 minutes you talked about?
I just kind of talked about what the journey and the emotional struggle and like the feeling of despair and all that. And
did you bring me into this? Like just how it's a common problem?
I did not.
That's fine.
So one thing I did ask her, I said, have you ever you ever worried about this? You ever had to go to confession for this? She paused. She says, no. I said, you are not going to be able. She's like, it's not like it just happens. Like, you choose to do this. And I said, yes, I'm not saying there's no. I said, if you've never had this, I said, you're not going to be able to understand what it's like.
Choosing is, it's not, that's a difficult word.
It's not involuntary, but it's not like me sitting down and plotting out the next car I'm going to buy. Like, it's like I said, like, literally, it's not like I went up there with the idea, okay, I'm going to do this.
You just saw Glamour magazine in the corner.
That's all over. I said, this has been the sorest spot in my life for the last 20 years. And I said, it's been very lonely having to carry this by myself because I was afraid to share this with you. In part, I didn't want to burden you, but in part, I knew what had happened the last time. And of course, that's essentially what happened this time. So my suspicions were correct there. And I could tell she was listening, and she was past the immediate anger, but she was not ready to come over and give me a hug or something like that. Like, that was not going to happen. So I did my thing, and I just sat there quietly, and she didn't say anything. And I got up because I was like, well, this is, it was after midnight at this point in time.
Oh, wow.
I was like,
and we're recording at 5:30.
I got to record with Joe. So I was like, well, I'm gonna go down and take a shower. I'm not gonna be able to fall asleep. So I went down, took a shower, just a shower. Took a shower, came back, and I sat out on the porch for a while because I thought, well, I'm gonna give her an opportunity if she wants to. Like, I didn't want to just go up there in the room where she's at, and if she doesn't want,
Smart move.
I just like,
Yeah.
she did not come out to the deck or anything like
Boy,
that.
there's all kinds of twists and turns.
Yeah. I thought in my heart I wanted,
Mhm.
I did not need her to come out and say, I'm sorry, it's all my, whatever. I really needed that acknowledgement that while she's hurt or whatever, I'm still her husband, whatever, something. That never happened.
Oh, so I was expecting a plot twist where she came out to the deck. There was some romantic exchange, and you went in and made like passive love. And you still ended up tanking the gas. Gas in the tank.
Well, it was playing out in my fantasy. It's like, I was thinking to myself, this would be the best story. Sorry, listeners. But I went downstairs for probably 30 minutes or an hour, 45 minutes, and then I was like, well, I'm gonna go back to bed. Went upstairs. She was still up.
Oh man!
She was still up on her phone.
Oh,
Not a word.
so now it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable, but I had calmed down. Like I said, I really didn't get worked up because I have processed all these emotions in the past. So I just lay there and I checked my phone before I went down, and then she sent me a text message and she said, I just need time to process my thoughts.
Okay.
So
No, that's fair. And so like so I want to get back to just one more point about it being a choice. It's really like fighting gravity. It's like saying you're never going to lay down again the rest of your life. You're going to fight gravity, stay upright the rest of your life. Like, eventually you just lay down. Like, it is not like just for anybody. If anybody does ever hear this, because this is a pretty awesome episode, primarily because it's not my information, but it is just like fighting gravity, where eventually you just have to lay down.
yeah, and I will add this much, and this much she was fair. She's like, it's just been 2 days.
Sure, I get that too. That was I felt the same way.
For the record, Jonah is on my life.
2 days.
3 days. There.
See, that's the issue, is the counting of the days. It's not day zero, it's day one. You start on day one.
It had been Saturday night, so we had all of Sunday, all of Monday, and this was the end of the day on Tuesday. So in my mind, that's 3 days.
Well, see, and I would count Saturday, Sunday,
Oh.
Monday, Tuesday, so you get 4 days.
Yeah, you wild young kids, you're doing it all times of the day. We're at it's 10 p.m. or later, so it's basically the next day. But so
Yeah, we were up till like midnight too, but I won't say what.
yeah.
It's different, I think. But
So and I says, you're right. I mean, it would have been better if this had been 2 weeks. And she's like, what if I gotta do it every day and you'll still be doing it?
no.
Would you care to share?
I can confirm that, and this is the truth. If you have a frequency of like more than 3 times a week, you could easily go forever without ever doing it again.
Yeah, it
Probably 2 times a week is the bare minimum, but 3 times a week, and you're like, it'll never happen again.
yeah. I what happened out of the deck, I said I didn't realize how much I desire to be desired once in a while.
Oh, it's true.
And I'm not trying to rationalize anything, but as I was pondering this morning, I sometimes wonder, because when I'm doing that, I'm always imagining myself with my wife. I'm not using porn. I'm not imagining myself with anyone else. And when my wife and I are intimate, it's the one time that I feel desired.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if
Oh,
This
that's
is-
a good point,
if
man.
this is my way of artificially creating that sense of being desired.
Man, yeah, that's a deep thought.
I'm quite honestly, I'm thankful as hell that it happened because
Yeah.
I have so badly wanted to just bring this up, and we haven't talked since then. But
there's no ending to the story? Like that was it?
there's no
No resolution.
there's no resolution at this point in
There'll be
time.
a part 2 then.
There was no passionate lovemaking.
Oh, that's what I was hoping. I thought for sure that was going to be
Sorry for the
the
spoiler.
conclusion. It's going to
Yeah.
be fireworks and
No, part 2 maybe. But you know, I'm okay. I mean, I like I said, there was a strange relief associated with it. But I just tell you, anyone that ever actually hears this, there's a really, really good chance your husband has some experience with this. I've just felt so weighed down by this, as you and I have talked. And you know, that reaction is not helpful, man. I mean, that's why literally it's been 20 years. We have not talked about this.
But you're the missionary to the masturbators. Like, I mean, what does she think?
I dropped all the clues I could, man. I have dropped every possible signal and clue along the way.
So one thing that's funny too is, so what started the conversation in our house regarding this is that Dolores looks at me one day and she goes, "Why do you guys talk about masturbating? Do you guys still do that?"
Yeah, no, that is.
And so then I looked at her because we hadn't really talked about that in a long time. We've had conversations about it, but just not in a long time. And then I said, "Well, yeah." And then the questions begin: how often? Where do you do it? Where does it go? I'm not going to say explicitly what she said, but like, where does it go? Those kind of questions. And the thing is that it was uncomfortable, especially, where do you do it?
Don't do it in range of a baby monitor.
Pro tip
Pro
number
tip.
1. Yep, that's the shower is a safe place. Not to get. I mean, it seems obvious to me, but it led. So after that conversation for Dolores and I, everything changed as far as just because then we had conversations about frequency and how often would be, lead towards relief of that sort of thing. And
Well,
yeah, it was just like it was. I'm not going to say it was an uncomfortable talk, but it led to good things.
well, and I knew that, and so part of me, I wanted that to be over the Rubicon, so to speak.
And another point too is that nobody enjoys this.
Yeah.
Like nobody wants to do that. Like everybody wants to be with their wife.
Or just not have the desire. Like it's really hard to explain something that you do. Frequency depends, I guess, on the guy. It's something you do and don't like doing, but you do, and you would like nothing more than to never do it again. But it, for most of us, probably never goes away completely. And I told her, I said, look, I have explored every option under the sun.
And Craig has, he's probably.
And it's true. Like if I could untether myself from this, I would have done that a long time ago. And yes, and I'm sure there's some traditionalist out there, or all the women out there, gonna be like, yeah, just suck it up and deal with it. Maybe you're right. I'm just telling you, I've been able to do just about anything in my life that I've wanted or needed to do, and there's just something about this that is relentless.
It's like fighting a force of nature. Like I said, it's like trying to just stay upright the rest of your life and never giving in to laying down.
Yeah, there's probably some Superman somewhere that can do that, but for the average guy, and there again,
it's not even just the average guy. We're talking like the top 99th percentile.
Yeah, and it is, of course, it's a force of habit and stuff, but I think that when I'm like down or depressed, or like when we were going through those things, have been like pretty good overall. Like it was not an issue.
Way to blow it.
Yeah, I just
now he's got to put like a shirt over the baby monitor, maybe.
just like, oh,
Better fall down in some mud and find a reason to get in the shower.
So anyway, so that's the go. Oh, I just,
Boy, that's incredible. And I'm sad there's no resolution. Hopefully she talks to you about it and there's not just like some Costco-sized box of mint tea sitting on the table when you get home today.
pair of scissors.
Look at the banding, the banding bands.
I got an appointment with a vet. We're gonna get that taken care of. I mean, I would do that for crying out loud. I don't like this any more than you do. It's just, it's just not possible to be frequently intimate when you're trying to be a faithful Catholic and you're either abstaining because you don't want to have kids or you're abstaining because you have a bunch of kids. Like, it's just, this life is just,
There's
really,
no,
if you don't live in constant concern, at least to some degree, about your soul, you can't relate to this. Like, it just,
yeah.
and I'm sure they're like, well, wouldn't that motivate you not to? Like, if you really are like, yeah, you'd like to think so.
But it's like fighting gravity. There's a force that you cannot control. Like, because you have to not think about it, but still every movement some days, like once you get past, like I think once it gets to be, especially like over day 10, every single movement, it is in your head.
Yeah.
Like, and you are repressing a lot of things.
Yeah.
That eventually get you.
I think that may be part of it. Like, we'll see. I mean, there's no, it's out there now. I'm sure I haven't heard the last of it. I hope we don't go through the rest of our life never talking about this again, but
hopefully it leads to a good conversation.
I think so. I don't know. I mean, anyway, so there you have it. Stay tuned, maybe.
I mean, I know that when you asked if she had ever gone to confession for that, you were hoping that she'd burst out in tears and tell you that she'd been doing it for years. And
I knew the answer to it. That's the problem. I knew the answer to that. Not once, like you just have done it once.
even then, she'd have no idea how this feels. It is just like the Seinfeld episode where they say, we're guys, we have to do it. Just like, it's just different.
It's like me never having smoked a cigarette, just telling someone to just stop smoking cigarettes. You know it's going to kill you. Why don't you just stop smoking cigarettes?
Excellent analogy.
Right? Like,
perfect.
I mean,
yep.
It can't. Yes, you can stop smoking, but it's not just like, yes, you physically choose to pull a cigarette out of your pocket and light it up, but it's not, my ability to not put a cigarette in my mouth is not the same experience as someone who's been smoking for 20 years.
It's true.
It's just not.
Yeah. Well, that is an unbelievable story.
That maybe
not what I was expecting. When I woke up this morning and I was making the coffee, and Craig is like, boy, do I have a story for you. I thought for sure it was going to be like something heroic, or like something amazing, something romantic. But
well, I guess maybe it's amazing. I don't know.
It's more like American Pie.
Yeah. Oh,
although in that story, the dad that caught his son doing that was understanding. Mm-hmm. This is much more like Seinfeld, where you got George getting caught by his mom.
It is like just
the guilt and just
I mean, I get that we don't want to normalize it, but I don't know if there's one. I mean, I just think priests and wives. I'm just telling you, you just can't.
I will say that they don't have a clue unless they're really talking to their husbands, but like, I'm thankful that we've gotten to the spot where we can talk about it openly, like as far as like, she wants to know, as far as like, she's interested enough to know whether or not everything's okay that way.
Yeah. I mean, I hope maybe going forward, if I'm to the point, like I'm really struggling right now, I can tell her that, I don't, maybe she'll never sleep with me again. I don't know. See, but, whatever, it is what it is. But I just, this is such a monumental occurrence in our marriage, for better or for worse, that, you know, probably needs to happen in more marriages, or,
They need to talk about it.
you gotta talk about it. And like I've said, you need to be able to refrain from judging if you can. I know it's hard. I know it's easier said than done, but this is not, like I said, we don't enjoy this any more than you do. It just, but it is what it is. And, so any other parting words, Jonah?
No, I'm hoping for the sequel now. Now I want to watch the sequel.
Well, I'll have the baby monitor on.
Really give her a show the next day.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. So anyway, well, possibly until next time. I don't know. Maybe there won't be. Maybe I'll be banned. But until next time.
That was a great story. I mean, that was an amazing. I don't know. It was not what I expected. Sorry.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good one. Welcome back.
Okay. Thanks everyone who listened through that. Again, I hope the sound quality was okay, but that still is probably one of the most crazy and enjoyable episodes that I've done. And I hope you guys enjoy that. Feel free to share it if you want. Comment below. Just stay tuned for parts 2 and 3. Part 2 is sort of kind of the resolution and conversation that occurred between me and my wife afterwards. And then part 3 is a discussion about what a priest told me in confession afterwards, and specifically about the topic of other acts. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. So I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. And until next time, everyone, have a good one.